So, going to talk to you guys a little bit today about quantum nutrition testing, what it is, how it works, because that's the biggest question that I get all the time. And a lot of people ask me, well, you do muscle testing, but how in the heck can you do this long distance if I live in another state or if I don't come in person? And I get these questions quite a bit. So, I'd like to kind of answer some of these questions for you guys and talk to you about how this actually works. So, one of the biggest things in quantum nutrition testing is that we want to assess or figure out which organs are working optimally and which ones are not. Okay. So, oftentimes, doctors, and I'm a family nurse practitioner, by the way, and I was a cardiac ICU nurse for 14 years. So, when we do blood work, we it kind of gives us an idea, but to be honest, it's a very, very poor way of assessing how the body's truly functioning. So, because when I do blood work, I'm basically comparing your blood work to everybody else's. And it's an average. And just because you fit into the average range does not mean it's technically normal for you. How many times have you guys heard of, you go to the doctor, you have all these symptoms, and the doctor goes, well, your blood work is fine. Here, I don't know what to do. Here, have a pill. Take a pill. It's just anxiety or it's just whatever. And you're just like, no, I know something's wrong. And you're just like, yeah, and the doctor goes, yeah, but your blood work is normal. Just because you're in the normal range does not mean it's normal for you. And here's one of the things that and it makes so much sense. So when these labs are and these averages and ranges are created, they are based off of people who get their blood work done. Well, who normally gets their blood work done? Most people, when they're feeling well, they don't go into the doctor and say, I think I need my blood drawn. Most people who get their blood work done are people who are not feeling well. So these averages and ranges are based off of sick people, not well people. Okay. So when you get your blood drawn, your blood work is being compared to sick people, not healthy people. So that's first off. Second off, there's huge ranges, and not every single lab company can agree on numbers. So it can vary from lab to lab depending on who's drawing it and what laboratory you use and things like that. So even that is inconsistent. Okay. So what I love about muscle testing and quantum nutrition testing, we're basically asking your body, hey, are you happy with where you're at? Okay. So now this can be done two different ways. Okay. If you are in person, I use acupressure points and I use your arm. So every single organ has its own set of nerve endings that go to the skin. These are acupuncture points. We know that this is a fact because if I put a heart monitor on you, what's actually happening? So that those electrodes are actually picking up nerve impulses from the heart on your skin. Okay. And then we get the heartbeat on the heart monitor, and I can tell you what heart rhythm, what's your heart rate, what's your heart rhythm. Okay. Because those electrodes are picking up nerve impulses from your heart. They've done studies on this where it shows that every single organ has its own set of nerve endings that go to the skin. They put people under MRIs to prove that this works. So we know that this works. There's hundreds of documentations on this. You can look it up yourself. Okay. So every single organ has its own set of nerve endings that go to the skin that are acupressure points. Okay, so now put that off to the side. Now let's talk about hypothermia and what happens when you get really, really cold. When you get really, really cold, the body starts constricting blood vessels, so squeezing blood vessels in your fingers and toes. Why? Okay, so think of a water balloon. If I constrict one end of a water balloon, where does the water go? It backs up to the other end, right? So if I'm constricting blood vessels in your fingers and toes, where's the blood going to go? It starts going to go up your leg, up your arm, and it's going to pool right into your chest, into your abdominal area. Why do you think that is? Because the body is really, really smart. It knows what it needs to do to keep you alive. If you get a cut, you don't have to say, oh, body, send platelets to that cut to form a scab. You don't have to do that. Okay. Your body just automatically does it. You don't have to say, okay, I think it's time to move potassium and sodium in and out of the cell. Okay, guys, do your job. You don't have to talk to your body and do that, right? It just automatically does it when it's functioning properly. Okay. So your body knows that if you get really, really cold and if your fingers get frostbite and fall off and die, you're going to live. If your internal organs get frostbite and fall off and die, you're in big doo doo. Okay. And the body knows this, and the blood is really, really warm. So it starts constricting blood vessels in your fingers and toes to keep your internal organs warm. Okay. Now, when we do muscle testing in person, we use your arm. Okay. And I'll actually start touching different parts of your body. These are acupressure points and associated with an organ. If that organ is not functioning optimally, your arm drops a little bit. It doesn't become like a limp noodle, but it'll give. Okay. And you can actually feel this. And it has nothing to do with strength. I've been doing this for 9 years. It still amazes me. And it's so accurate. People will come into me and they won't tell me half of their symptoms. And I start doing muscle testing. I'm like, oh, do you have this, this, and this symptom? And they're just like, how did you know? And I'm like, because I'm using the muscle testing. I'm like, that organ is not functioning properly. And when it's not functioning properly, you have these symptoms. They're just like, really? They're just like, but my blood work is normal. I'm like, I don't care what your blood work says because we're comparing you to everybody else. Your body's saying something else. Your body is saying, no, I'm not happy with where I'm at. Does that make sense, guys? So when I start touching these acupressure points and I start pushing on your arm, the body has to make a decision. Does that organ, does that area have enough energy to sustain itself? If it doesn't, then the body will actually pull energy from the arm to go support that organ. And hence your arm will drop a little bit. Okay. So, because everything is made up of energy. So, just like the body knows what to do with the blood when you get hypothermia on an energetic level, the body knows what it needs to do as well. So, it'll actually pull energy because, again, what's more important, the arm or the organ? The organ is more important than the arm. Okay. So, that's what we do in person. Now here's the fun part, and this is where people go, but how do you do this virtually? Don't you need to push on my arm? No, I don't. I actually have patients across the country. I have patients in Iowa, Texas, Florida. I have patients in southern Indiana. I have patients in Wisconsin, Michigan. I have patients all over the place. Okay. So, no, you do not have to come in person. But how do you muscle test, Tracy? Okay. So, this is a little bit a different way of thinking. So, this is called quantum physics. Okay. It is based, do I fully understand it? No, I just know it works. So, this is a part of physics that's a little bit above my head, but pretty much in physics, everything is connected. Einstein knew this way back when. Okay, so how old was he? He figured this out. Energy, so E equals mc squared. Energy equals the mass times the speed of light. And there is no distance. Distance is not part of the equation when it comes to energy. Okay, so this is physics, this is quantum physics. Everything is connected. Okay, so some examples. You're watching this. How is it that I'm using my Bluetooth device, my laptop for Facebook and YouTube, and my cell phone for Instagram? So, how is it that I am actually able to talk to you guys? There's no wires involved, okay? And somehow my voice, my picture is being transmitted and floating through the air, and hopefully I pray to God that, my face is not discombobulated and, my nose isn't where my ears should be and that my face doesn't look super distorted, on the picture, but hopefully that, everything is coming across the way it should be. Okay. So, but my picture and my voice is actually floating through the air to the cell tower to your device. There's no wires involved. How is it that it can actually get to that and onto your device? Really think about it. How can we send pictures from one cell phone to another and it can actually fly through the air literally in a nanosecond and get to another device halfway across the world? How can that picture do that? It's radio frequency. It is energy. Okay. Have you ever walked into a room after a heated argument stopped and you felt that tension in the air? Even though the argument is no longer going on, you know that something like big happened. There's residual energy in the air. It's so thick you can almost cut that tension, in the room with a knife. That's energy, okay? Have you ever thought of somebody, whether you whether it's your kid, like mother's intuition. Oh my gosh, this is a really good one. Mother's intuition. You know that your kid is doing something naughty, and they're in the basement and you're all the way upstairs and you all of a sudden just something says, Steven, or whatever, knock it off or quit, whatever it is that they're doing. They're being naughty or they're hurt. How many times have you heard that, like, the moms just knew something was wrong and their kid was halfway across the country, from Florida all the way in California, and they just had and they just had this inkling something was wrong with their kid, okay? Or you thought of a patient, or you thought of a family member that you haven't talked to, or a friend, or a client, and all of a sudden they either texted you or within the next day or so after you thought of them, they walked through your door or whatever. You picked up on their energy whether you were aware of it or not, okay? That's energy. That is quantum physics. And technically, every single one of us can learn how to do this. But first off, we have to kind of quiet the mind because most of us, what are we doing? We're either thinking about the future, like, oh my gosh, what do I have to do for dinner? Or, oh my gosh, I have all these deadlines to do. Or we're thinking of about a past, experience or an argument that happened earlier in the day or whatever. And we're not in the present moment. Okay. Animals can pick up on energy very easily. They can sense when a thunderstorm is going to come in. How many times have you seen where like an animal turns around and the weather is really beautiful out and there's technically nothing in the forecast for a rain, but that dog or cat is under the bed, like, scared, or the birds all hunker down. You're just like, gosh, it's abnormally quiet outside all of a sudden. And within like a half an hour, this huge thunderstorm comes rolling in. You're just like, well, that wasn't in the forecast. The animals can sense that, okay? And or they can sense when the owner is coming home. My mom's cat did this. She knew exactly when my mom was coming home, and my mom never came in at the same time. Okay? So this is energy. So animals can sense this all the time. So we can each train ourselves to do that, but most of us don't know how. So this is not some sort of like voodoo magic, or anything like that. This is just quantum physics and quantum energy. So I have taken enough workshops to be able to do this. So using quantum physics, I can still assess your body. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. We have a visitor. Hi, Tony. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. So, but yeah, so quantum physics and actually, if you don't mind me saying, so this is one of my long distance patients. So she's on our Instagram page. She joined us. So, and she's one of our long distance patients where, a lot of times I don't see her. Every once in a while she'll pop in, but most of the time I see her virtually. So, but yeah, this stuff really works. And so I've taken enough workshops to be able to do this where I can help assess, and there's a way for me to do that using quantum physics and this technology in order to figure out what's going on with your body. And it is scary accurate. Actually, it still amazes me, and I've been doing this for quite some time, and I still get goosebumps every time I do this. So, and what we want to do is we want to find out the underlying cause. So, once we find out what organs are not functioning optimally, then we want to find out the underlying cause. Why is that organ not functioning properly? Is it heavy metals? Is it heavy chemicals? Yes, from all the stuff that we're putting in our bodies, there's over 10,000 chemicals that are banned in other countries and allowed in the United States that are cancer causing and hormone disrupting chemicals. And this is allowed in our makeup, our beauty supply, our hair and shampoo stuff, our body lotions, candle fragrances, our foods. Our foods are notorious for half of these chemicals. Our household cleaning products. So we're getting these in our like Monsanto and glyphosates that are banned in other countries. And this is all getting into our system. So why is our organs not functioning properly? Is it from that? Maybe you're eating foods that are causing inflammatory issues. Okay, maybe you have parasites. Yes, parasites. If you scroll through my Facebook and Instagram page, I am constantly posting pictures of parasites that patients poop out or blow out of their nose or wherever. So, and the CDC actually recognizes this. If you look on the CDC, parasites can cause Behavioral changes. Okay, so mood disorders, right? Aggression, temper tantrums in kids, like really like not cooperative behavior. Maybe it's not the kid's fault. Maybe they have parasites. And yes, young kids have parasites. Okay. Parasites can cause cancer. This is on the website too, on the CDC website. Look it up. Parasites cause tons of gut issues. Okay. So they cause hormone disruption. Okay. So we want to get to the root cause and then we can find out specifically what supplement your body needs to get rid of the underlying cause while giving nutritional support. So that's what we do with quantum nutrition testing. So this can be done whether you're in person and we live in or if you live in like the Palos Heights area, Chicago, greater Chicagoland area, you can come on in personally. If you don't live close by, no problem. We can do this virtually too. Okay. But like I said, so if you want to kind of figure out why you have your symptoms, then give us a call. All right. Let us help you get on the road to recovery and call us at 708-554-6730. Would love to hear from you guys. Have a wonderful afternoon. Take care.